once it kind of dawned on me that I was getting older and I had to grow up, that my time was limited with my mom, it definitely brought us closer. Like, don't get me wrong, we definitely fought like any mom and daughter does, but at the end of the day, she was my best friend. Me and my mom have had a very interesting relationship. When I was really young, I was your stereotypical daddy's little girl. Like, if mom said no, I went screaming and crying to my dad, and he just said, do what's gonna make her stop. So we weren't as close when I was young, but she was the one who stayed home with me while my dad was working. So in that sense, we were close. Like, I did everything with my mom. We went food shopping, we would go for walks, we would go to the park, like, we did everything. And then once I got older and my parents got divorced, me and my mom became really close because that's who I was living with. That was like my primary parent. And me and my dad's relationship got a little bit more rocky, for a lack of a better term. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 13 on Easter of 2009, I believe it was. So, not the best day to get that diagnosis, but it kind of changed things for me really quickly. I have always been very mature for my age, but this made me have to become an adult at 13 because she was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, which typically is not, they don't give you a very long period of life. It started in her breasts, and then they got rid of it in her breasts, but it had spread to her bones. And for most of her treatment, that's what they were fighting, is it just kept spreading and they weren't sure how to stop it. And my mom was not happy with that. That was just not an option. And she said to the doctors, and she was like, listen, I'm gonna live whether you like it or not. So previous to finding out that my mom was going to pass away, she had come to visit me at college about a week or so beforehand, and she was not feeling very well, which she had her good days and her bad days. That kind of became my new norm. So I didn't think much of it. She told me she was fine, like she always did, and I just accepted that because that's what my normal was. So after that, she was admitted to the hospital for fluid in her lungs, which panicked me. This was my first time ever away from home. I wanted to be there. It freaked me out, and she told me it was fine. It was just a simple procedure. They were gonna drain the fluid and that would be it. And me and my mom had the relationship where we were just constantly texting, kind of like those annoying people in a relationship, but it was just me and my mom talking. And she would start answering less and less, and I started to panic, and I was freaking out. I was like, why aren't you answering me? It's been like 2 hours. What's going on? And she's like, no, I'm tired. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I got a very weird feeling about halfway through that week, and something just told me she's not gonna make it. And then literally the next day, I had come home from classes. I believe it was a Tuesday or a Thursday. And I was sitting in my room reading a paper, and my aunt, my mom's sister, called me. And, she started off asking me how college was going, what I was thinking of my first couple weeks. And then she kind of paused, and I just knew, like a gut instinct, that something was wrong. And she told me that my mom wasn't gonna make it. One of my favorite memories with my mom actually happened right before she passed, the summer before my freshman year of college. We had gone to the beach, and my brother was at my grandparents' for the day, and we just sat. We put our beach chairs like right where the ocean was coming up and the tide was ending. We just put our chairs there, and we sat and we read a book together. My mom like held my hand, and it was just like one of the most peaceful afternoons I had, and like we didn't even have to say anything. And I think at that point, my mom kind of knew that she was gonna pass, and so she wanted to create that memory and that bond with both me and my brother in our own separate moments. I've always loved the beach. Even as a kid, I just was always very comforted by the surf and the sand. It was just like one of my favorite places to be. When I was a kid, my dad didn't like the beach as much. So when I was young, we didn't really get to go. But once my parents divorced, me and my mom and like my family, we started going more. And it just there were so many like good memories that I associated with the beach. Like I always could just like take a nap peacefully. I could just feel relaxed, and I felt very at home on a beach. If I could give anyone advice, especially young women who have just lost a parent, whether it's your mom or your dad, be that you're not alone. And that sounds very generic and very blanket statement, but it's true. I know at least 3 people who also lost a parent while I've been at school alone, around the same age I was. And while no one's ever going to have the same exact story because it's just not how life works, you're not alone in the grieving of, well, what do I do now? Like, that was my mom or my dad, and I don't have that anymore. What do I do?